for coming out tonight. I know you guys are probably saturated with jiu-jitsu by now, and I'm going to saturate you a little bit more with a whole bunch of information. I like to give as much information as I can fit in an hour. My thought process on that is because, you know, we have a lot of different levels of people here, right? So small little things, you'll start to see these details, and it'll make sense to you, right? But somebody that's brand new, maybe you show them 3 moves, they don't get any of it. So I like to show a whole bunch of ideas. I'll show you a bunch of different options, some grip things, some pummeling situations, some, you know, no grip takedown type situations, and you know, we'll flow through a handful of submissions. Some of the submissions you've already seen, but this is my path and my process that I like to get through because it works for me pretty often, and I end up with these submissions most of the time. I flow through a lot of these things. And my takedowns normally end in some kind of good dominant position to where I can attack submissions, right? So best idea and best place to be in. Some of the, you know, judo trips and things, you end up in closed guard and you're fighting the pass guard. I don't want to do that. Sometimes I do want to do that, if you guys have seen like my knee bar series and things like that. So I do like to go back to half guard a lot of times because I submit most people from there, but it's not ideal to get into most of the time, right? So we're going to start off with this idea. Who went to Frank Chesko's class? A lot of people probably. Yep, good. So the idea that he brought up that was pretty awesome that I haven't seen anyone really talk about is that those feet in line, right? To forward movement, right? So if we're wrestling, you have a wrestling stance, whatever that is, strong base, movement side to side, but we want to go forward most of the time. Maybe we're working on sweep singles or whatever the idea, but this double leg series that we'll look through really quick for the guys that do MMA, no-gi type stuff, it's going to be that idea. So double leg series. Can I borrow you, sir? Actually, Mike. Yeah. So Mike's a pretty good wrestler himself, and I think he's got a lot of judo experience as well. So the idea, like, just square it up, stand, yeah, right there, yeah, stand. So when we're working these situations, my idea is to get my knee to smash through that little place right in between his legs, right? So I like to think of this as a piece of glass. I want to smash my knee through it. If I'm just falling here and I'm trying to get into that double leg series, no good, right? He just smashes my head down, pulls his legs back, and it's no good, right? Francesco's idea of those feet forward driving, this is what I call level change penetration, comes from my back leg. This is what drives me forward and propels me, right? So I can get to where my toes are pretty much close to his toes. And some people that have really good springiness in their calf, you'll see wrestlers with one calf that's twice as big as the other one, right? Those freestyle wrestlers are like, they can shoot a double leg out here. Just from this level change off, drive it into a double leg. Not to say that's a great idea. If you can make up that space, sure, maybe you can be out here fighting someone, get into a double leg position. Not likely, right? But we're gonna work on this idea of that back leg driving through. So even without a partner initially, we're just gonna do a fighting stance here. We're wrestling whatever side you like to play. Left foot forward, right foot forward. We're gonna get this level change. Feet are in line. I'm getting forward motion. This back calf drives me forward to make up that space. As that happens, knee drives through, trail leg comes to the side. I'm gonna have a direction change most of the time. So if everyone could just join me with this, we'll stand up. Again, it's gonna be level change, toes straight, driving forward. Back calf is gonna drive, trying to get maybe like one mat space, right? Level change, drive, nice and slow, drive that knee through, bring the trail leg to the side. Then we're looking at throwing the legs, chopping steps. So you can do this on your own and drill a few times, and then we'll work into the next series. Questions? All right, let's do it. 1, 2. Okay, bring it in. Just I wanted to get an idea where everyone's at, see what your you know, double leg kind of idea is doing. So the reason that I get this level change to make up that back leg and get that penetration so I can drive through. And the direction change comes when I get a hold of those legs. I like to go behind the calves, and I'm going to throw those legs to one side. I use my head. My skeletal structure is posture, right? Spine is stacked. I drive off this back leg. I call this a trail leg. So this leg is going to drive that direction as I get these short, choppy steps, and I throw those legs to the side, right? So when we do this with Mike here, and I also like to point out, we're not going to like murder each other in this wrestling thing. I want people to start to feel comfortable with wrestling, but I want you guys to kind of get something out of this with no grips, right? So we're here, I get a level change, Mike's in front of me, arms length away, essentially maybe 3 feet. I get this level change, penetration, toes go in line, drive through. I'm looking for the back of his calves. My head goes up. Trail leg comes through. I'm going to throw his legs that direction, and I'm going to use my head to start moving him as well. So I go here, chop, 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 chop. And then I get into side control position. Whatever side you like to go to, figure out like where you want to end up in side control. That's not my favorite side, so I would completely switch. So it would be left foot forward, level change, penetration, drive through, right behind, chop, chop, chop. End up on the ground. I'm blocking his hips. Left hand prevents this leg from coming through. Right hand comes over top, and then I start looking for knee next to his body, scooping up this near side elbow, and then getting into side control. And then I wrist lock him. Most of the time, right? So again, I like to go to that side. It's here, level change, penetration, drive through. Chop, 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 chop. Hand goes next to his leg, elbow goes next to his hip, slam my knee into his belt line, look for near side elbow control, drive that knee inside, come over top, and I wrist lock. Questions on that one? All right, let's give it a shot a couple times, we'll move on. 1, 2. All right, so a lot of the times it's my penetration step doesn't get deep enough, right? So Mike, come against her. So sometimes, you know, people are here, they're like, they get a level change, everything's great, and then they just slam the knee to the ground. Like, this is very common problem. So remember, I need my toes to get in line with his toes. Here, drive through, smash this piece of glass, smash. My shoulder slams into his body, my spine stays straight, in line. I got good posture. Hands go behind the legs, this trail leg drives, and I come off my knee. I don't just drive here and like fall down. I have to come up, and my feet do this little dance move. We're dancing a little bit, right? So I go level change, penetration, drive, chop, 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 chop. We end up falling into side control. So this is like an explosive movement, but I wanted you guys to feel something that has like no grips and you have some options, right? This is not my favorite double leg anymore. When I was young, I loved it, but now I like to go a little bit different. And I'm going to show you this other option that you can have with a double leg with the trail leg just tripping through. So again, Mike, doing the exact same thing, except for the trail leg that was out here before is not going to go to the outside. It's going to step all the way through and just trip this back leg. So all the same things. 3 feet away from him, level change, penetration, toes in line, drive into him. Head is up, spine is straight. Left leg is going to come from here all the way through. Now I just I can fall into this half guard position. What do you guys think is here? All my favorite everything that I love, right? So he falls down here. I go over under position. Elbow goes in front. I sit here, walk my hands out, start to scoop this leg up, squeeze my knees together, slide down, and get that knee bar. Always there. It's great. Over under position. I'm in a half guard, which I said maybe is not the best, but for me it's the best spot to be at, and most people it's probably the worst. So again, please. So we're here, level change, penetration, drive that knee through. Trail leg comes, trip, drive my shoulder into him. He starts moving away. Elbow comes inside. Walk my hand over, slide my legs down, knee bar to the guy. Again, we're here, level change, penetration step, drive. Trail leg comes through. Start to control his hips. Squeeze my knees together over top of his knees. As he starts moving and squirming about, I just go. Walk, walk, walk. Get him straight. Slide his knee down. Push the knee down. You guys come to my class the other day. Most people kind of saw this. We can go through really specific after training or the rest of the week if you guys want to get deeper into these. This is a very good option. If you guys got other options, look for those as well. But let's play with this just to trip through right now, and we'll go on from there. Cool. All right, let's go. 1, 2. Then I need the. Then you. Any questions, problems with that one? Yes, sir.
It seems like it's essential that you get the other leg up, right?
Exactly, yeah. So as I get this takedown, great question. The shoulder has to go deep underneath that leg in order to start getting this over-under position. Some guys have really good long legs. They'll lock their legs up, and it's really hard to get that thing to break, right? So Mike, where'd you go? Yeah. Mike's a pretty large guy, so he can probably lock his legs up pretty good. So I get this level change, penetration step, I drive through, break the glass, trip. Now I'm here looking for control initially, and as he starts kind of squirming, I'm squeezing my knees together, I start to get here, maybe he's got his feet locked up. It's really, really hard to get this broken. So I need to drop my shoulder, and then I use this to kind of pry, and then I keep walking. As I start getting it open, I even drop a little lower. So now it's kind of hard for him to get his leg back in front of me or get that thing locked back up. So I'm getting it flat on the mat, and then I'm using my knees to squeeze together and walking this direction to get this nice straight line. My shoulder does a whole bunch of the work to break this guard initially if he's got it locked up into a half guard normal type position. So I kind of drop my shoulder here and I start walking, and I can use this as a pry bar if he has his feet locked up. So I can, even in a half guard situation was locked up traditional old school, I start to go here and I'm like, elbow goes in front, and I start going here, and I'm hiding my left hand from him getting Kimura type grips, right? So I'm walking this way, walk this way, squeeze my knees together, tight. Pressure is on his body, all my weight. My knees aren't on the mat. Might look like it, but they're off the mat by like an inch. Now I'm squeezing. Then I slide down to his Achilles, lock my feet up, and then put my hips forward to finish the knee bar. So great question. Yes, I need to drop my shoulder to get under there pretty deep. From that situation, I go into that other side knee bar, which you guys have probably seen quite a bit, and we'll probably get into it here in a minute. Any other questions?
Yeah, why do you go elbow first when you want to do
Why elbow first? Well, I guess because my hand normally won't go there, right? So this stops like this knee shield kind of from coming back in front of me. Guys that have really good knee shields, it's really difficult to get that thing broken. Like Matt Gallagher, if you guys have trained with that guy, he's got a half guard knee shield that's pretty much impossible to break. He's a monster, right? So this comes here. When he starts to try to get that knee shield, like this is blocking. My elbow's blocking. So if I just try to go here, he's like, it's hard, right? So I go here initially because I'm blocking his hips, squeezing everything tight, elbow. And it's easy to slide that thing in. So that's also a great question. If I were to go here, I'm gonna have to make so much space to get up here to get inside, right? You guys see that? It's like just economy of motion. So my elbow comes in and starts to work for that underhook. So I'm here initially, squeeze, boom, elbow. Walk. Great questions. Anything else? Okay, cool. So we'll go through a little bit of a pummeling type situation now, just to get an idea of like how to get into these like, pummeling spots and start working on different ties, right? So I know it's normally not this type of scenario in a gi situation, but I get here all the time. Doesn't matter if you guys got judo grips or whatever. I'm like, I'm always working and getting close to get into these pummeling situations. I don't care if they have a gi or not, but initially learning how to pummel is a dance, right? So I want it to be smooth. I want you guys to move your body. I need to work on these small mechanics, right? So we're just gonna start in this 50-50 position. So I've got one arm over grabbing his tricep, one arm under that other side. My right foot is forward, his right foot is forward, right? And the idea, you get those people that are like, we're gonna fight for double underhooks. And then you like shake hands and everyone's like, and they're just crazy, right? We don't wanna do that. We want to be dancing. So we're just gonna do some dancing, right? So right foot forward, right arm underneath. Left hand grabs his tricep. I'm gonna make some space with my back leg in order to get this hand underhooked, right? So he doesn't like that to happen because it's a bad spot for him to be in. As I do that, I make space, bump, space happens. He's like, ooh, he's getting that underhook. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm switching my feet as well, right? So it just goes into this nice smooth little dance. I'm like, back leg, bump with my shoulder, make space, inside. So back of my hand goes in front. Bump, make space. And we just do this nice little dance. Be nice and smooth for now. Try to think about moving your feet. If you get a little bit lopsided, right? If I go, I've got my left foot forward and my right hand underhook. Really, really easy for him to just throw me one direction. I'm like super screwed. I don't have a good balance here, right? So it needs to be here. Got good base here. Got this back leg that gives me a lot of driving power to make a little bit of space from this underhook position. Boom, bump. Just nice and smooth, sliding in here, right? So we'll start here first. If you guys feel like you have an idea of how this is happening, then we'll move into like the other type of pummeling. Well, there's a whole bunch of type of pummeling. So we're gonna go collar tie. I'm just getting inside to go into like collar tie situations. So you can hear, just like smooth moving. And as you start fighting with people, you'll be able to start working through this over underhook type pummeling. And we're going to go into like overhook positions, grabbing some lapel stuff, but also into some things that work with that overhook and kind of figure four on the arm, different options for some takedowns, and then move through some Russian series, or maybe we'll call it American series or something now, whatever. Questions on that? Pummeling. Has everyone pummeled before? Has an idea? Cool. Let's do this just for a minute. See if you guys are have an idea what's going on, and then we'll get into some new stuff. 1, 2. So these are just simple ideas, like to get in this pummeling scenario. It doesn't have to be super aggro and crazy. It doesn't have to be like, fight club every day. You see wrestling practice, you go to anywhere that's got high-level wrestlers, they start off drilling and working, penetration steps and, entries to takedowns, but they're not going 1,000%. They're working through flowing, opening up space, making space go away, working underhooks, overhooks, working into this Muay Thai clinch. And as we start working into the frame, Muay Thai clinch idea. So with this underhook like type scenario here, as we under pummeling it, I'm trying to get into this kind of scenario where I've got a nice Muay Thai clinch. I like the gable grip. If you guys do any kind of MMA stuff, gable grip's really nice because I can control his head much better with my elbows than traditional like Muay Thai clinch, I feel. It's up to you guys how you like it, if you get into any MMA stuff or like self-defense or any kind of fighting. But you can see like from this situation, as I get here, and I've got this Muay Thai clinch, I can really start moving the body along. And I can start getting underhooks and knees to the face or whatever from there. So this is really nice control. So that's kind of what we're working with, that underhook pummeling stuff, right? Now we're going to work into like some grip things with the gi, and also talk about some ideas for like hand control, wrist control. This is maybe the most important part of takedown series, is like getting a hold of a guy. If they're back here, like you see guys that are brand new in jiu-jitsu, they're like, oh, we're going to do takedowns today. They slap hands. Like, how do I get a hold of this guy? Don't be worried about it. Just grab a hold of this guy and do stuff. Doesn't matter. Work this pummeling thing. Grab onto lapels if you got them. I like to try to work not just wrist grips. People like will grab the wrists or grab the fingers, or they do different types of grips. I like to grab here. Like if I can get a hold of these 4 fingers, and I think a few other people maybe showed this a bit. 4 fingers, and I squeeze a hold of those things, like try to pull back. Like much more difficult. I just kind of hang out a little bit. And then as you start working, I grab this, and I'll start to play here a little bit. Just these 4 finger grips are amazing. So kind of play with that a little bit, right? We're gonna kind of flow through this series. So I'm here, maybe getting this, grip series. Elbow comes over top. So I'm here, I get this elbow coming over top because I'm gonna go inside for underhooks. This is like gi, no gi, it kind of doesn't matter, but I go underhook, uchimata. So we're standing in this position, moving around a little bit. So I'm grabbing a hold of fingers if I can get them. Elbow comes over top. I'm looking for this far side wrist as that happens. So I go here, fingers, elbow comes over top, looking for that far side wrist. I come inside, looking for this deep underhook. And as I do that, I switch my stance here. So 4 fingers, grip, looking for that wrist, elbow comes over top, underhook. Switch my hips. This is like uchimata for judo type folks. I don't really finish the uchimata. I'm trying to throw in this direction. But as I do that, I'm hitting my hips inside like a mule kick. And then I bring this leg down to start looking for this ankle. And I'm going to bring this left hand down and scoop that thing up. Really nice takedown. It goes into like a lot of different spots that I get in. So I'm moving around here, like boom, 4 fingers, boom, elbow, up, inside, pop, trip. And I start looking for this single leg ankle pick position. So over here, 4 fingers, elbow comes over top, look for the wrist, step inside, shift my hips, kick, step, drive. And most of the time, I'll get into an ankle pick like leg drag situation. So we go here, 4 fingers, elbow over top, underhook, driving that up, switch my hips as I step in. Kick, look for that ankle. And I'm using this to drive as he starts to get him back. And I'm looking for leg drag kind of position. Seems like it's a whole bunch, but if you guys are familiar with leg drags a little bit, you can get this pretty easy. So we're here, 4 fingers, elbow over top, inside, kick, drive, leg drag. So leg drag, from this position, just like, you guys have probably done this, some kind of drills, right? Same idea, I'm trying to corkscrew his body, get a hold of his biceps. It's a pretty good control position, and most of the time, a bunch of series of like leg dragging things, I'm not gonna get too deep into, just wanna get this entry into that underhook position. 4 fingers, elbow comes over top, wrist if I can get it inside. Drive, leg drag, push it to the side, and now I'm in this nice top leg drag position. You got gis, you can hold on to those. I'm looking for his bicep control if you don't, and I'm driving this direction, kind of corkscrewing his body. Questions on that one? All right, let's give it a shot. 1, 2.
Motherfucking ass overhook.
Things that I'd like to bring up because a lot of people kind of end up in this spot, and as I get that underhook situation, the elbow comes over top, I get a hold of that wrist, I step inside, shift my hips. I want my right hip pretty much in line next to his left hip, essentially, right? But as I kick, I want this thing to be straight, and I want my arm out here. It's like some kind of yoga pants pose, right? That's ideally what happens. Most of the time, when you're starting off, it doesn't really happen like this. You might get that switch, and maybe you got a little bit of space, and you get this inside. It doesn't get the space like you want it, but you get them move in this direction. That's when this foot comes into play. So this is like a backup to that super gnarly, like kick forward like I'm dancing, straighten my arm out. And that normally takes people down, but I have the backup to sweep that foot up, grab the leg, and get into an ankle drag or leg drag type position. Does that make sense, everyone? Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, one question. Like when you go for the Uchimata,
Uh-huh.
like I feel like all of the person's weight is on the other leg.
Yeah.
So picking it up becomes very difficult.
Exactly,
Like, how
yes.
do you address that?
Great point. Yeah, Mike, can I borrow, sir? So it does go all the way on that left leg, but as I throw this thing by and I put this foot to the ground, that leg doesn't like to be the only thing sitting there, so it starts to come up. So as it happens, I get here, throw the 4 fingers, elbow comes over top, wrist grip, drive this forward. I get here, like from here, that thing just gets stuck there. So, it's him moving backwards, this thing gets light. So it's a great question. If I were to stay, I'll back up again. If I get to this point, boom, inside, and I stay here, it's like, it doesn't work anymore. Like, I'm likely gonna get like launched because he's just gonna drop levels and pretty much pick me up and slam me on my head. So I need to really get that leg to pop back, boom, as I step inside, boom. So it's a great question. 100% accurate. That foot is super heavy because that leg's off the ground. As this foot starts to stop, driving forward, then that leg gets light and I'm picking it up. So it's a quick foot sweep, ankle pick, leg drag, right? Great question. Anything else? Okay, so we'll go through a little bit of deep grip stuff right now. Brandon, is Brandon here? Curly hair, black belt, Brandon? Yeah, great. I've never seen anyone else do this. Little grip break. I want to show you guys this because it's pretty awesome and not a lot of people do this, but it gets me into like Russian series pretty often, right? So we're just gonna go like traditional type judo grips, right? And you guys have all seen like, grab the side of the wrist, pull it in, pop down, like all this type of stuff. Grab on the thumb, pull it down the line, like all these grip breaks. You guys have probably seen these, right? We're not gonna go so much into those, but I want to show you this because it's pretty cool. So from here, we got like 50-50 position. Maybe you got those guys, and I'm sure you guys have seen them where you can never get rid of this grip. You're like, I'm doing all the things that all the coaches taught me, nothing's happening, right? So the thing that I've found that works the best is I go, here, I level change, drop my head, and then I break the grip like this. And look what I end up in. Like it's a 2-on-1 Russian series, whatever you guys want to call it, right? So again, we're here, you got this 50-50 judo stance. Can't get rid of those grips. I drop my level, boom. Head goes around it, pop that thing off, and then I go right shoulder pressure into his armpit, and then I'm here into this Russian series, right? So we're here, tight grips, oh, not going, not going. From here, this goes underneath his armpit. I grab onto his shoulder, tricep area. This one stays here. You can grab a hold of the wrist and you can get in front of it and you can start doing a lot of different things with this Russian series, but I like to be here because I'm gonna do stuff with my hands later and I like them to be free. So it's just my option, but you guys can play with this as we get there, right? So we're here, drop my level, circle. It's really hard for him to keep that thing locked, right? So my left shoulder goes into his armpit, start to get into his arm with my left hand, Right hand's just gonna go to his wrist. And most of the time, if this leg stays here, it's kind of great. So I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. I don't wanna get too deep in this either, but we go here, I drop my level, pop. From this point, I step forward my left foot, and I just use my head and my body to move him back this way. And I end up really quick takedown. It's stupid. You're like, how did that just happen? It works pretty often if you commit to it, right? So I'm here, drop my level, pop that off, step inside, and now I'm in almost armbar type position. If you guys want to fly into arm bars and things like that, you have them right there, right? So this is an option. Most of the time that leg won't go there because the guy knows what he's doing. That leg's gonna move out of the way, right? Because you feel very compromised. I'm on his side. I'm pretty much have his flank now. Not a good spot to be. So I get here, drop my head, pop that off, drive in here. That leg goes away most of the time. So it's not there to trip anymore. At that point, I go from collar grip here to his wrist. That foot went away. I start driving into him. Now, in this spot, if that happens, I go double leg. But we're going to go into this break fall, stupid takedown that's ridiculously easy. All I do is fall down and hold onto his arm, and he falls over me. It's really nice. So we're here. I drop my head, pop that off, step inside. This space, I have like, maybe 16 inches between. Sometimes like at this point, I'm looking for that. I move the leg back. I get here, my left foot's there. I'm going to do like a break fall. So my foot just falls in front of there. It's like a judo break fall. My head goes over here, and I just keep a hold of this arm with the shoulder pressure on top of his body. Most of the time, the guy starts to turn in. Then I go north-south chokes. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Push this hand down. Walk my hand a little bit deeper. And then as I get this thing as deep as it'll go, I do this motion and start grinding on his face. We're walking this like the Addams family. And it gets pretty tight now. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna take a little bit of pressure off, right? So all my weight is on his body. My knees traditionally aren't on the mat. Right now I'm doing that so he's not really miserable. Trying to get to this wrist, wiggle, 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 walk my hand through, walk my hand through. Now once I get to this spot, I stay on this 45-degree angle initially. My right hand is gonna go to my left hand. Palm up, gable grip. Now I go north-south choke. So this goes from here, boom. Drop my head next to his tricep. Here, palm up, slide this direction, toes go on the mat, and I pull his head like I'm popping off a little daisy. So I go here, heels go to the mat, which helps me kind of pull on his head. And it really cuts off the blood flow really quick. It's, small little details that make this north-south choke work, but it works pretty damn well. So again, we're here, we have this, drop my level, boom, pop that shoulder, maybe I get that takedown. Maybe smart moves that back, foot goes next to his body, grab a hold of his arm, do a nice little break fall. Shoulder pressure, blade my body, keep the head up, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 push the elbow or that wrist. And start walking and off the hand. Like this guy does this. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Gable grip, north south. Get out in front of him now. Head goes next to the mat. Heels go to the mat. Starts pulling on his head like I'm squeezing the basketball between my elbows. Here. Really, really nice finish to that north-south choke. So one last time. We're here, chop level. Right in. That didn't work. Foot goes here. Fall down. Scoop this arm up and drive his wrist. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Walk my hand. Walk my hand. Head goes next to the mat. Palm up. Wiggle grip. North south. Head goes next to the mat. Heels go down. Squeeze. Questions on that? All right, let's take a shot. 1, 2. Oh, no. So we can go start from collar tie, maybe. Left hand goes top of his head. Open my chest out. Fall in. Right? So start collar tie. Left hand goes over top. Open my chest, step in. Keep my posture. Open the chest. Drive. Elbow goes deep inside. Shoulder goes underneath his armpit. Again, here, back of the head. Pop. Drive. I want you to put shoulder pressure in his armpit full time so they give me a little bit of input back. For gi guys, we'll start here, play with this grips. Yep. Drop. Here, no gi guys. Come here, grab the head, open chest, drive. Cool. Hardest do it. 1, 2. Okay, so north-south choke there is very, very effective. Small little details that I can work through with you guys. That little Adams family hand and then walking that thing through. It's a little tricky, and then that little shoulder movement and working my lat in the side of his face. So small little details. Then getting out north-south, heels go to the mat like in a weird way. So it kind of feels weird initially, but once you figure it out, you're like, oh, mind blown. It's like popping off a little daisy. I want to stretch his head off his body, right? So next thing, like, well, I tried doing that. The guy's really big. You guy didn't fall over. Sometimes it does happen. So we get to that 2-on-1 spot, and I'm like, here. I'm like, oh, the guy's really big, and I'm like, oh, that didn't work. Now, what do we do from here? No gi, guys. We're just gonna go ready to do a single leg. So as soon as I'm like, oh, that didn't work here, and I wrestle up. So quick movement. It stops like a lot of different things from happening. So we get here, back of the head, top forward, drive. I'm like, oh no, it didn't work. Just wrestling up, right? For the gi guys, I slap hands like this. I'm like, everything's gonna be cool. Let's have a good fight. Now I'm playing with this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. It's wrestling series. I'm like, boom, fall. Oh no, it didn't fall over. I grab lapel. Put lapel between his legs. Same idea. Shoulder pressure on his body. My hips are, all my weight is on him. And I make this into a nice little joystick grip. Move around for me a little bit more. Just hang out for a little bit. I'm like, come on. Then I go over top here, and I get even tighter. So, really cool grip. I play this in a lot of different areas, but it's always available when I maybe fail in that Russian series, and I get into that. So, maybe you guys were here, collar tie, top, Russian. Oh, I did work. Gi guys, feet the lapel through the leg, no pressure, step over here. All my weight goes on his body, just hanging out for a bit. Thumb goes up, elbow goes up the top, and I get this nice side control position. Give that shot a couple times. Hardest go. 1, 2.
For you're a giant, and so you go like that, and so then I'm coming back up here, resting up, blocking me if I can.
Does anyone not get a chance to do that? We can work on it. Open match, just grab me anytime. We'll work on anything you guys want to work on. This is a great series of things that I play with, and I've got a whole bunch of options for submissions. I get this Russian series instead of the north-south. Now I go to that knee bar that I love because my shoulders don't like the north-south stuff anymore. But north-south is so effective that it was probably my favorite move for quite a while. Now I've kind of evolved into other things, but it was really, really nice. Anytime you have questions, please ask me. And do you guys have any other things now? Anyone see anything weird or have any problems? Feeding that lapel management, like I always say, is kind of hard when you're playing lapel stuff. So you guys into gi stuff, lapel management is always important. No gi stuff, you just come into a wrestle up position. So thank you for coming out. I appreciate you guys.